Yo, what up? What's up? What up? We're back at the Freedom Train podcast series. I am Joseph Ward, and right with me is your homeboy, Mr. Patrick Irvin. What's going down? That was my old Martin. That opening, that was my old Martin. I thought about the series flashed in my head real quick. But anyway, I am Joseph Ward. He's Patrick Irvin. This is the Freedom Train podcast series right here on the Freedom Train Network at www.freedomtrainradio.com, where we got some of the illest, realest, skillest, trillest podcasting going on in the world. You heard me? So, before we get into it, remember that the Freedom Train podcast series is brought to you by PAX Inc. That's PACTSINC. And PAX Inc. is a Black development organization aimed at developing the Black community to its maximum potential through a focus on education and economics with the trace for hard work, honesty, and integrity. And for more information, make sure you visit their website at www.pactsinc.org. That way you can learn more about the code of conduct they created, how to become a member, how to donate, how you yourself can get involved in the initiatives, and you can take advantage of that learning center. You can support PAX Inc. by going to that Amazon Smile logo that's on the website and clicking on that. That will allow you to register with the Amazon Smile program. Registering with that program means that every time you make a purchase on Amazon, a portion of your proceeds will go to the nonprofit organization that you pick, which should be PACTSINC.org. So once again, that's AmazonSmile.com. Just sign in, and every time you go to Amazon to buy something, just go to Amazon Smile. Same thing, same process. Just do Amazon Smile, and you're helping out the organization. And once again, the PAX website is www.pactsinc.org. And while you're online, make sure you visit our Freedom Train website at www.freedomtrainradio.com once again. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. I want to show people these awards I got.
Go ahead. Yeah, so I got the Silver Save the World Award. Okay.
And I got the Gold.
Okay.
Save the World Award.
Yeah. So hand claps.
Yeah, I got the the Lifetime Achievement Save the Globe Award. And they
what's that stuff they found in Wakanda? What's the name?
Vibranium.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah. Well, this one is vibranium for real. But the other two is fake vibranium. So
okay.
I got it for capturing the claw.
Okay.
Not the claw from Black Panther. Jim Carrey's the claw from Liar Liar, where he used to tease his kids.
The claw. That's funny that you would even think about that claw. That's funny. You
that stupid. Was the claw, right?
You is stupid. Oh, hey man. So how about this, right? So yesterday, I got off of work by 6:00 yesterday, right? And so all y'all, I'm talking to y'all too. Y'all need to hear this because I'm goddamn mad. I'm still mad. So get off at 6. I come home. I knock out the fix. Bam, get it recorded. Bam, ready to go. So I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I'm finna go get me a fish hamburger sandwich. Like, let me go ahead and get me a fish hamburger sandwich. All right. So what's the best place to get me a good fish hamburger sandwich? Whataburger is the closest. And I got like a $7-8 minimum limit right about now. Because I don't really want to spend more than $8, or really, I don't want to go to my $10 limit because I'm being real cheap. I don't care what nobody think. I'm being cheap. So $7-8 limit. Whataburger's in my $7-8 limit. Whataburger like 5 minutes away. And, you know, I like the water catch meal. That's my thing, right? You've been to Whataburger before, Pat?
I have.
You like that water catch meal?
It's been about 20 years since I've been to Whataburger. I don't know what that is.
Man. Hey, I'm a Whataburger OG. But anyway, this ain't about Whataburger, right? But it is. So I ride up the Whataburger after I get gas because I need some gas. But I ride up the Whataburger, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm bumping the Griselda. I'm playing Griselda, Dr. Birds, tell Virgil right brick on my brick. So I'm doing my thing, pulling to the drive-through, and the chick in the drive-through was like, "Hold up, Give me a minute, and I'm gonna come back. I'm like, man, whatever. I'm whatever. I'm vibing to this Griselda. Tell Virgil right brick on my brick, right? So I place my order. Give me a water catch meal. Give me that strawberry Fanta drink, because that strawberry Fanta drink be busting. I want some spicy ketchup, but on my fish hamburger sandwich, I only want ketchup, lettuce, and tomatoes. So I communicate that with her, and she said back to me, making sure she understand. Cool. So I pull up. I'm the third car in. Black dude, white girls, me. Still bumping my Griselda. Tell Virgil, right brick on my bread, right brick on my bread, right? I'm in it, right? The next that song go off, the next song come on. I'm Griselda, right? I'm acting like I'm in my head. I'm in the video with them, right? So I look up, I glance up, and I thought I saw a French fry flying.
What?
So I'm like, okay. Whatever, brick on my brick.
Okay.
And so I look up again, and I see the white girl in front of me. She in her car like this. Then I hear screaming, and the white girl like this. So I'm like, are they fighting? So I asked the white girl. I say, I get out my car. Damn, at that time, I get out my car. I'm like, are they fighting? She like, yeah. So I get out my car and I walk up to the window. So when I walk up to the window, I see the dude. It's like 2-3 dudes. One dude trying to hold one girl. One dude trying to hold the other girl. It's a manager. The manager's there, but the manager like this white dude, and he looked terrified. It's a whole bunch of black people, and it's like these two girls trying to get at each other. And so in the front car is a black dude, and I'm like, man, is they in that fighting? Because they at that by the time I get closer, you know, the slippery when wet sign is thrown. They throw it at the girl, and like she at that time broke away. So they go to fighting inside the store. And so dude in the first car like, man, I done gave them my money. I'm in there like, man, I almost got excited, but then I got mad because I thought about how hungry I was. And I'm like, man, I'm goddamn hungry. So they go outside and they just fighting outside. They all this and all that. And the manager just lost full control of it. So at that time, I become mad as the motherfucker, right? Because I'm like, they done threw the French fry that's supposed to come to me. Then was my French fries that was flying in the air. Why they had, Pat, why they threw my French fries like that?
Rude and disrespectful.
I wanted them French fries. I had them fix my mouth. I had them fix my mouth for my water catch meal and my spicy ketchup with my French fries. And I was going to put some of that extra spicy ketchup on my fish sandwich, hamburger sandwich, and eat my stuff because I was hungry. I was hungry. And I couldn't get my food because they fighting. So I got room to back out. Before I back out, I tell the dude at the sign, I like, hey, bro, they fighting. You might well go ahead and get you some food somewhere else. He like, all right. So he pull out. I got room to back out. I back out, and I pull around to the front of the store so I can leave out and go somewhere else. It's a car full of girls in pajamas and bonnets out there in the front of the store, like some white car, like they done pulled up to help fight. So at this time, I get even madder. I'm like, y'all done called people to come up and help y'all fight instead of cooking our food? Oh, hell no. I'm real mad now. I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I'm like hungry. Like, I ain't that big, but my stomach touching my back. I got the white mouth, all that, because I'm hungry. So, man, and then I end up having to come home and eat some damn baked beans. I had my mouth fixed for that food, and I couldn't eat my food because them goddamn girls want to be fighting the goddamn Whataburger, throwing my French fries that I was
your French fries.
Moral of the story, don't go to Whataburger.
Well, maybe they was throwing your French fries to see if you would catch your what a catch meal, and then it would have been like, what a catch, great meal. Dad joke.
I want to be mad. Forget your joke, but it was your laugh. Your laugh.
Dad
Forget
joke.
you, man. Forget you. And forget them girls for throwing my French fries.
That's right.
Anywho.
That's right.
We got a show to do. So we got
We
three
do.
topics. We got three topics. I just want
All
to tell
three
you.
of them.
I want to tell you about what happened to me last night. But so first, there is a spike, and YouTube, don't be bitching. Don't act like no bitch on this YouTube. We ain't come with no bullshit. We ain't coming with no violation of community guidelines. So we don't come with that fuck shit. But we talking about a spike in COVID-19 cases in Africa, what they're calling, according to this report, Arizona reports spike in cases and deaths. So this is a report from USA Today that is reporting that there's a full-blown third wave in Africa. This is not Patrick and Joseph saying that, YouTube. This is from the USA Today article by Grace Hawk that we read, that was published at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on June 20, 2001, updated at 6:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on June 20th, 2021. Okay? I just wanted to make sure YouTube understood that. All right. Also, Russia, if you haven't heard, Russia is planning on dumping the US dollar. And so we're going to tell you about how Russia is preparing to get out of the US dollar, or get the US dollar out of Russia. Dun, dun, dun. I just felt like that music go right there at that time. But anyway, the third topic is a Catholic priest at Trump's January 6th rally said he performed an exorcism on Congress. And he's not an exorcist, the church said, but these Catholic priests are also what they're denouncing Joe Biden, or what they're doing. What's the they are basically Joe Biden ain't they taste. They don't like Joe Biden now, so they're talking shit about Joe Biden basically. I know I messed that up. You supposed to be helping me. I threw it to you and you just sat there rubbing your chin.
Hey man, Ben Simmons. I don't take shots.
I see. You just took one though.
Pew, pew, pew.
At him, Ben. At him.
At me, Ben, please. Get it, Ben, please. Take a shot. Pew, 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 pew. All right. Yeah, they issued a strong statement, a corrective statement on Joe Biden's views on abortion.
Right. So Joe Biden, don't be out here being anti-Catholic priest, because YouTube gonna come after YouTube, Joe Biden. So let's go to our USA Today article and talk about the spike in cases of COVID-19 in Africa, according to this USA Today article, YouTube. So YouTube, if you don't mind, I'm going to read some of this article. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna drag this out. Y'all shouldn't mad like no bitches. I'm gonna drag this out. With about 45% of the U.S. population fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and cases declining in a majority of states, Americans across the country gathered with family and friends at parades, picnics, and barbecues over the weekend to mark the Juneteenth federal holiday. Okay. But across the globe, it's not such a rosy picture. Nearly 85% of all COVID-19 vaccine doses globally have been administered in high and upper middle income countries, according to the World Health Organization. Less than 1% of Africa's population is fully vaccinated. And the continent is seeing a surge of cases, according to the World Health Organization. Y'all heard that, YouTube? According to the World Health Organization, there's been a surge in cases. 22 African countries saw cases rise by over 20% last week, and several nations reported their highest number of new weekly cases since the pandemic began. Africa is in the midst of a full-blown third wave. The sobering trajectory of surging cases should rouse everyone into urgent action. Dr. Matshidiso Moeti of the World Health Organization Regional Director for Africa said in a statement, and this is what the doctor said, YouTube: "We've seen in India and elsewhere just how quickly COVID-19 can rebound and overwhelm health systems. So public health measures must be scaled up fast to find, test, isolate, and care for patients, and to quickly trace their contacts. The highly contagious Delta variant has been reported in 14 African countries. President Joe Biden and the head of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention on Friday warned the variant could pose a new public health threat in the U.S." So That's the bulk of it right there. So you want to comment first, my brother? I'll throw you in the fire first. Get him, YouTube.
They not just gonna block my piece.
They're gonna silence your part, and when I come back, they let me talk.
This is interesting. I mean, we've been talking for a while. The conversations about whether or not the vaccines work, whether or not there are any long-term consequences, the weaponization of information or the lack thereof, the weaponization of ignorance by a lot of people. What this showcases, especially when you're looking at a scenario where less than 1% of Africa's population is fully vaccinated, and you're seeing a full-on third wave in the country. And keep in mind too, 22 countries in Africa. What's up?
You got to make sure you preface that according to the World Health Organization.
Oh yeah, absolutely. According to
we're gonna drag this out.
Yeah, according to USA Today, who got their information from the World Health Organization, 1% of Africa's population is fully vaccinated. 22 countries saw a rise in cases. And I want to say, keep in mind that in the early stages of the pandemic, Africa was actually doing very well. Like they were doing better than everybody thought they would do. And a lot of that wasn't
Africa and India.
Right. And a lot of that wasn't because like a lot of people were like, well, Africans are naturally immune. No, a lot of that is because the infrastructure for dealing with pandemics and epidemics was already in place and strong in Africa because of things like Ebola and all of the other pandemics and crises that they have been dealing with on the medical front. While they didn't necessarily have the medical facilities to deal with a surge, the people already had a mindset and the culture had already embraced a lot of the things that were required to keep things from blowing out of proportion. Now with all of these new strands, the Delta variant and various other things coming into play, more virulent strands coming into play and all of these other things, I do think it's real interesting that we're seeing a surge in cases in Africa, and it kind of should make everybody question. Everybody that doubts the vaccine should question it, and everybody that doubts the virus should question it. And I think this thing should cause a lot of people to reevaluate a lot of things that they believed. And let's just start looking at the facts. Pay attention, YouTube. Let's start looking at the facts from various different credible sources and making sure that where we stand on the issue is the proper place to stand. But also take into account that we live in a very social world. The decisions we make here in America have an impact all over the world.
Right. Well, even like the article was saying, there's the U.S. would look at it as a concern and look at it as like the article says. Says President Joe Biden and the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Friday warned the variant could pose a new public health threat in the U.S. And first thing I think about is travel. The way we are moving different in the U.S. because of the number of people who are vaccinated. Now, of course, the total population is not vaccinated, but there are a good number of people who are vaccinated, enough to where a lot of Americans may feel comfortable enough traveling to places like Africa. So if there's a surge in cases, and like you said, 1% of the population is vaccinated, and I would guess that 1% will be people who are wealthy. Right. So when you travel to Africa, the threat would be when you travel to Africa, what areas are you in? Are you in the area where people are heavily vaccinated? Or are you in the area where people are not vaccinated? So that could pose a new threat because there is a different variant in different places in Africa that's different from the variants that we have in America.
And the thing too to keep in mind is something we've been saying repeatedly, which is, look, the more the virus spreads, the more the virus multiplies, the more opportunities there is for mutation, the more opportunities there are for new variants to show up, new strands to pop up. So even by us just not taking it seriously here in America or all over the world, because we don't know where this Delta variant originated, but it's safe to say that a new variant could originate in America uh, due to our lackadaisical view of the virus. And even to that, we got the Olympics coming soon. There was already a member of Uganda's Olympic team that was barred from entering Japan because they tested positive for COVID. And in several hospitals and things nowadays, they aren't even doing thermometer checks no more. They're not even doing temperature checks no more. Like, people have totally let off the gas.
Well, Phoenix Suns basketball star Chris Paul, they never fully came out and said fully everything that was going on. But Chris Paul is in COVID protocol, so I'm going to allow you all to assume for yourselves for various reasons, but YouTube reasons rather, but just a further understanding, and this is supported by the CDC, that just because you have the vaccine doesn't mean the virus cannot be spread. I'm quoting what the CDC said. So this is not what I'm making up. That's what CDC said. So,
and we gotta. This is serious, right? We gotta definitely keep this in mind, because there are other reports that say that 25% of the people with COVID experience long-term problems, whether they had a serious case or a mild case. 25% of them experience long-term complications from COVID. That's serious. So we gotta stop playing around with this thing, man. Look, wear your mask, social distance, all that stuff ain't let up. And with me, even if you are vaccinated, I still feel like you should be taking the necessary precautions to stay safe.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, vaccinated or not, wear your mask. I was educating one of our city commissioners here the other day about the virus still being spread even though you're vaccinated. And so, but at this event, it was the majority of the people didn't have masks on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, first of all, I don't know if you're vaccinated, and I don't know if you have the virus or not. You don't know about me either. So let's not assume everybody's safe. But a lot of people are doing that. So with travel still being what it is, and until somebody says, okay, you can't travel here anymore, these places are banned, until that travel is open. So it's still a possibility of something being brought back because of travel.
Mm-hmm.
So just something to keep an eye on for y'all,
Absolutely.
Be smart. Be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Be smart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But let's make some change and talk about this money. You get it? Change, money. Drop them quarters on them. Hey, man, you better act like you like what I said.
Yeah, I get it. Gary Payton.
Hey, Pat, man. Hey, man. Hey, don't make me angry, Pat. You don't want to see you. All right, so I'm gonna let you kind of lead on this one. Russia say they're dropping the U.S. dollar. And your best lessons from the screen rendition. Why is Russia dropping the U.S. dollar?
Well, what they're saying is, in the National Wealth Fund, they could possibly be ditching all of their U.S. dollar assets. And they're going to be instead investing in euros, the yuan, which is the Chinese money, and gold.
Oh, right.
And that according to the article, anyways, it's being used as a political move ahead of the President Russia U.S. summit later this month. But Russia has historically been slowly getting rid of its U.S. dollar holdings for a number of years now. And it's sort of like been seeking, and you saw this with the petrodollar and with a couple other things. It's been trying to remove the US's role as the fallback currency, the dollar's role as the fallback currency. And as we know, the countries, well, maybe we don't, but the reason why it's such a big deal for the US dollar to be used as a fallback country, the fallback currency, is that it gives the US an amazing amount of economic leverage globally. When other countries during deals have to transfer their money to your money, it gives you a lot of leverage and a lot of power. It gives your economy a lot of leverage and a lot of power, and it gives you the ability to do things that other countries can't do.
Bruh.
And it in general makes you more powerful than you otherwise would be. Now, what's up?
The US dollar was 35% of the economy.
Is that what you're reading in the article?
Yeah, that's what I just came across. The US dollar was 35% of the economy. Because what it says, the dollar share will drop from 35%, while the share of pounds will be half. Gold will be added to the NFW for the first time, because it's talking about the percentages that everything will be broken up in when they go to the euros and the yuan. So they say after the changes that will be finalized in a month, the fund will hold 40% of its assets in euros, 30% in yuan, 20% in gold. The Japanese yen and the British pound will account for 5 of each. Solanov said. So.
No, that's just the percentage that it will be in the National Wealth Fund. So that's not their economy. That's just in this fund.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh,
So
that's NFW. All right, they ain't really.
yeah.
I got you.
That's just in this fund.
Gotcha.
But Russia is a rival of the U.S. And typically we see fallback or backup currencies rotating over the years, but America has held it longer than any other nation in the history of the current economic model we have, largely because America has used its military might to kind of maintain its economic dominance in a lot of regards. So Russia and China have for a while been coming up with various different strategies to get that shifted away from America. And it's a lot of politicking and a lot of strategy involved in that. But if you can get the world to stop using the US dollar as the fallback currency, you essentially severely weaken you greatly weaken America's economic positioning and the leverage that America can generate globally as an economic power. And with Russia being a rival and China being an up and coming nation, that's in both of their best interest to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the mystique of America, to be able to spend the money that they have to fund their armies. So, you have the wealth component, and then you have the military component. So that's America's mystique right there. If that wealth is weakened, then that's going to weaken the militaristic part of it as well. So, people be like, well, man, we can rock with America, but America already looks weak coming off 4 years of Donald Trump. America looks
absolutely
very weak and incompetent coming off of 4 years of Donald Trump. So this is big, and I believe the tension and things that, well, not necessarily because Trump was kissing Putin, but all of the relationship wasn't all good. So but that's interesting. While Trump was kissing Putin's butt, they're slowly getting rid of the US dollar. So was some of that butt kissing trying to save the US dollar?
I don't think so. I think Trump was totally ignorant to that.
Me too.
But it is interesting that since Trump has left office, there have been a number of countries, and towards the tail end of Trump's time in office, there were a number of countries that were trying to make moves to get the U.S. dollar to no longer be the world's reserve currency. And we see that those efforts are continuing. And we see the continued fallout of the Donald Trump presidency and the fact that Iran no longer wants to deal with America whatsoever since he pulled out of the Iranian nuclear deal, even though all reports were that they were complying with the terms of the agreement. Now Biden is trying to get us back in that deal. And Iran is like, no, we can't trust Americans no more. And there are a number of countries out there saying that, like, no, we make a deal with one president and then the next president comes right behind him and undoes everything, which is why you typically saw a continuation of the last administration's policies in a new administration. So, because it was about maintaining that trust. And now you see with Donald Trump, what he did. Now the rest of the world is like, nah, we're just not going to deal with y'all. A lot of the world is like, we just not going to deal with y'all. And I feel like this is an extension of that. Even though Russia and China have been doing this for a while, now they have a tool that they can use to galvanize other countries into doing the same thing.
Right. So that weakens the American dollar, and that further weakens a weak economy.
Right.
Because, like we said either last week or the week before, the market might be doing well, and various markets may be doing well, because when we say the market we do want to be clear, there's more than one market. But a lot of time when people are talking about the market, they're usually talking about the stock market, but there are various economic markets out there. But when just because the markets are doing well doesn't mean the actual economy itself is doing well, because the market, the economy of the state, country, or town that I live in has nothing to do with my personal wealth. So just getting people to understand that. So this will make the poor more poor. And this will actually widen the wealth gap between the rich and the poor, and the rich whites and black people in America. And it could potentially speed up the 2053. Which will, and for those who don't know, who are watching this episode don't know, the U.S. Black America's wealth is predicted to be zero in 2053. So this could potentially speed that up with the weakening, with the dollar becoming even more weaker, because Russia, like, we ain't messing with you, and it could cause a chain of events, because we already saw, and I'm not sure how many African countries that the U.S. benefit off of, but we already saw a number of African countries go to that African currency and try to and kick out Western currencies as well. So what other nations that the U.S. dollar is in and is in big will let go of the U.S. dollar? Because everybody like, well, I mean, do we really need y'all like that?
Well, the biggest thing with Africa would be, one, China's involvement in Africa, and China is another rival that largely supports Russia in doing what they're doing to destabilize the U.S. dollar from the petrodollar and on. But the biggest fall there would be if they could get the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which gives a lot of the loans that African nations get. They get them through the IMF. If they get the IMF to no longer view the U.S. dollar as world reserve currency and say switch over to say something like the yuan or something like that, now you're talking about noticeable changes in America by American citizens to what our dollar used to be able to do versus what it would be able to do moving forward. And that's where I think, but at that point, it'll be too late. But I think that's the point that most Americans will really begin to realize, wait, something happened. So you gotta be aware of that before it happens.
And they're going to keep printing money, keep pumping that money out, because they're trying to keep that illusion going. But those of us who know. And that's why we want to make sure we keep our viewers informed on what's going on in the world, stuff that actually affects us over here in America, especially our community. And the economics of America definitely affect us. And we've always affected the economy of America. Remember that too. And just a reminder, our economic could be our economic situation could be a lot better if we just chose to do different and actually work together. But that's for another show. That's for another show, because you can save yourself if you do for self. All right. So our final topic is, they got some Catholic priests out here who trying to put them hands on Joe Biden, who got beef with Joe Biden. They finna drop a diss tape on Joe Biden because Joe Biden out here not agreeing with them about abortions. How dare him not agree with them about abortions?
So, I found this article on the BBC. It's a little bit different from the Arizona article, I believe it is. Not the Arizona article. The Washington Post article.
Which BBC? Which BBC?
The British BBC, not the American BBC, because Idris Elba.
Boys.
Man, forget all that.
So, now I get what you're saying. You're saying because he's British. I get what you're saying.
But so I'll read this one a little bit, and you tell me when to stop, because this is usually what you do.
Go ahead, read, my brother.
So, and this is different from the Catholic priest at Trump's January 6th rally that performed the exorcism on Congress, and then the church saying he's not an exorcist. But the Catholic Church is getting up to all kinds of shenanigans, because after they did that in support of Donald Trump,
I wonder why they did that.
They come back, and it says abortion rights. U.S. Catholic bishops face clash with Biden. U.S. Catholic bishops are on a potential collision course with President Joe Biden after voting to commission a document that may call for him to be barred from Holy Communion. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, the USCCB, clashed online over whether to draw up a teaching document on politicians who support abortion. Holy Communion is the most important ritual in the Catholic Christian faith. The Catholic president regularly attends Mass. Responding to news of the bishop's vote, he said, "That's a private matter, and I don't think that is going to happen." That's what Joe Biden said. The Vatican has already indicated its opposition to the bishop's move. After the debate on Thursday, the most revered Alan H. Vigneron, vice president of the USCCB, announced the move had passed by 168 to 55, with 6 people not voting or not showing up, abstentions. The U.S. clergy is deeply divided on the issue. The most revered Robert McElroy, Bishop of San Diego, warned such a document would lead to the weaponization of Holy Communion. However, the most revered Liam Carey, the Bishop of Baker, Oregon, said the church was in an unprecedented situation with the Catholic president who is opposed to the teaching of the Catholic Church. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm not the most churchy person. There's a lot of church songs I don't know. I don't be in church like that. So when I do be in there, they be singing the songs. I don't know the songs, right? I know some songs, but not songs I like. Well, anyway, so how does this document help them literally rebuke Joe Biden? And what, after he's rebuked, then what?
Well, so the some of the more hardline Catholics wanted to outright issue a formalized statement of rebuke against Joe Biden, and they wanted to bar him from Holy Communion as a form of penance. But they were talked off the ledge by other more progressive or more moderate bishops and cardinals that said, no, let's not do that. Let's issue a teaching document. Go ahead.
So is it in the Catholic tenets or in the Catholic religion to be against abortion?
It is against the Catholic's position. It's not in the Bible
Okay.
anywhere.
So just somebody was just like, hey, we're against abortion. And if you're Catholic, you need to think like me.
Well, yeah, basically, I mean, the Catholic Church is defined, the tenets of the Catholic Church is defined by the Archdiocese and all of those people that make up their mind
So,
on how they're going to currently interpret the Bible.
so it's the archdiocese colder than God, because in the Bible it said God's word is immutable, can't be changed. So it's the archdiocese colder than God because they can just take God's words and do what they want with them, which is actually changing God's words if they believe that those are God's words, right? Or am I wrong?
Well, they would say they're not changing God's words. They're developing their understanding of God's words.
But nowhere in the Bible does it say not to abort a baby, or am I wrong?
No, you are not wrong. The Bible does not mention abortion. The Bible, so this is where you get into the conversation about abortion. The Bible says, so there are two competing lines here. On one side, the people that are pro-life says God knew you before you were formed in the flesh. And as soon as you are conceived, because God already knew you, to murder you before you're born is murder. To abort a baby before it's born is murder because it's already a vessel. The other people say, but the Bible says that man wasn't alive until God breathed the breath of life into him. He formed the body, so the body was already formed, but life wasn't there until it was breathed into him. So those people say it's not murder until after you're born and you take your first breath. So then you get into this moral argument, but that's what the Bible says.
So both sides sound stupid because think about it. That's like me and you arguing about 2 + 2 equaling 4, because that's what it is, right? And I understand that because you can't take a word like that that's in the mindset of this is an unchanging word. This is the word of God. So you can't take that then try to interpret it for yourself. You got to go with what it say. So if it say hop on 2 legs and spit at the moon 12 o'clock, then you're supposed to be hopping on 2 legs and spitting at the moon 12 o'clock. If you believe in this word, especially if you believe this is the word that comes from God, it never says this is up for your interpretation.
Right, but you know, people are going to interpret.
Oh, people just peopled. Okay.
Right, people are people in the situation.
Okay. And so and not to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask them questions so I can get some understanding, and there may be somebody watching who like, okay, let me understand this. So these Catholic priests are rebuking Joe Biden through a document because of the way they interpret the word of God.
Right. Gotcha. But Joe Biden, being a devout Catholic, adheres to their beliefs. He has to, or he can lead a church. Being barred from communion is only a big deal if you care about being at communion.
Oh, well, I mean, so does that mean he can't go to that particular church or any Catholic church?
So it would be up to the cardinals and the leaders of their own church. So if it's passed universally, it could bar him from the whole thing. But as it stands right now, it's up to the discretion of whoever is in charge of the church he's at. They could bar him from that church and he could go to another church where the leader of that church is like, cool, you can come on in and do communion with us. We ain't tripping.
Because my thought process is these churches got to pay the bills too, right?
Right.
So they're really gonna not let the president come to their church, and
they will if they feel like it won't. If they feel like they need to assert themselves, they will. But let's be clear. But
these the same white folk who turned their back on racism, hunching little boys, and all this other stuff. So y'all mad that Joe Biden don't side with y'all about about abortion, but y'all don't have a problem with little boys being molested.
Well, and this goes into what
Allegedly.
has been.
Allegedly.
Well, this is what go. What I ain't no alleged about that. It's been proven them boys were molested by the church, but what's interesting is that it goes into more the incongruence or the contradictions prevalent in the church, because you had Donald Trump who was having an affair with his wife.
He's Catholic,
multiple times.
or
I
he's
don't think
under
Trump is technically
but he's
anything,
under the Catholic umbrella.
but the Catholic Church never rebuked him.
Of course not.
They never came out and made any sort of strong statement against him.
So it seems
None
like
of the religious institutions did.
so it seems like these people may be some of that 70 million who voted for him.
I'm pretty sure a good chunk, because a good chunk of Catholics are conservatives.
Hey,
They're
man,
Republicans.
because they God support that stuff.
Right. So Joe, and I don't even think the issue here is that Joe Biden is pro-abortion or whatever the case might be. I think the issue here is that Joe Biden is more progressive than the church would like. And this is how they feel like they can kind of get at him and gain support.
This is why me and you, we switched to Willie Earlism. See, we don't have this problem with Willie Earlism, like this stuff here, man, because it's just me and you. So me and you the only one in well, we got like 5 people in Willie Earlism. And if y'all really want to know what Willie Earlism is, go to Willie Earlism, because Joe said it.net. Willie Earlism, WILLIEERLISM JOESAIDIT.net. Willie Earlism, because Joe said it.net. And you can learn more about Willie Earlism. But why somebody gonna go there for real?
Yeah, I keep telling you need to say something before so we can register these sites. But I just looked it up. Half of all Catholics are Republican. Keep in mind, 25% of America is Republican.
Yeah.
But half of all Catholics are Republican.
Hold on, 25% of America's Republicans.
25% of Americans are Republicans, but half of all Catholics are Republicans.
Right, and half of Americans voted Republican in this past election.
Well, half of the Americans that voted, yes.
Yeah. So some of them part-time Republicans.
Oh yeah. Well, they're all conservatives because the faith is conservative.
But they're okay, but some people are voting Republicans. I get
it. Yeah. Half of them are registered voting Republicans.
Gotcha.
So, matter of fact, when it came to the last election, and this is from Pew Research, 50% of all Catholics voted for Trump, while 49% voted for Joe Biden. So again, we're looking at a situation where they are doing what the majority of their members want by coming out against Joe Biden in this way. And it's not just whites, because Hispanics are overwhelmingly Catholic as well.
Yeah, they are.
So, you go into that. President Trump had record levels of disapproval, but amongst Catholics, he had a 42% approval rate. So, that just goes to show how much of the Catholic Church is actually Trump territory. And that's why I said I feel like they're just taking the chance.
Right.
To, you know what I'm saying? So
to stick it to Joe Biden, because Joe Biden ain't cool. Yeah. That's why I wanted to go down this rabbit hole, just to kind of clear that up. So
yeah, the days of religion being nonpartisan are over.
When was it ever?
Well, there were moments in time where you could say that the church was trying to stay out of politics. You could turn your eyes, squint, and flip your.
It was turning around, but had the hand that give me that.
Right. You could kind of, sort of, maybe make a, but those days are over now.
The Crusades.
Like those days. The one thing we've learned about Trump through the Trump presidency is that if there was ever any doubt, everything is political. Everything is partisan. There is no such thing as nonpartisan. What you have in those nonpartisan spaces are partisan issues and partisan people trying their best to pretend like they give a damn about the other side's opinion when they really don't. And that's what's coming to the forefront. Everything is partisan. The days of us being able to have spaces where you could operate outside of politics, those days are gone. And I don't really have a problem with that personally. But I find it interesting that they're drafting up documents and talking about barring Biden from communion because he's not anti-abortion. Meanwhile, the last president we had was a royal dumpster asshole.
Grabbing women by the vagina.
Right. Just saying
everything wrong. Y'all was quiet. Shut up.
As a fucking quiet as a church mouse.
We're gonna write a strong letter to you, buddy. That's basically what they do. We're writing a strong letter telling you how we feel, buddy, and you're not gonna be able to come play with us anymore because you don't wanna. You better go grab some woman. And it's like
now, to be clear, let me say this real quick. To be clear, Joe Biden is only the technically the second Catholic president that's ever been elected. John F. Kennedy was also a Catholic president.
Right.
But they're making a statement out of it. They're making like this whole thing could have been held quietly behind closed doors, like Joe Biden tried to say. It's a private matter. It's the church doing the talking here. So to me, that kind of pushes everything out of the window. If y'all willing to go public about this now, why didn't you go public about the shit that Trump was doing?
Because hey, being a sexual predator, apparently to the church, being a sexual predator is not as high of a priority as supporting abortion in their mind, because whatever. Yeah. And that's the ass backwards.
They really got to come down off this high horse, man. Because like you keep pointing out, y'all ran an undercover pedophile ring. Like you ran an fuck all of the dumb shit. Y'all literally ran an undercover pedophile ring out of the church. You ask me, the Catholic Church should have been disbanded at that moment. The moment that came to light, anybody that's still a Catholic at this point in time, I'm looking at you like, why?
Hey, and the reason why they haven't been disbanded, all you got to do is study the real history of how the Vatican came about and how the Vatican really moves. And you'll see what real organized crime looks like.
Yeah, because you don't even need to be associated with the church to still have your beliefs. But if they're going to kick somebody out of the church or bar them from participating in holy activities for not following their doctrines, what are they doing when they? Why don't you hold them to some sort of standard when they don't follow their doctrines? I'm pretty sure the Bible don't say nothing about the holiest of holy, the priest, being permitted to fuck little boys in the ass. I'm pretty sure it don't say nothing about grooming children to be molested and abused. I'm pretty positive there's nothing in the Bible that okays the priest of God to run an undercover child sex trafficking ring.
Hey, I'm with you.
So we mad at Joe Biden about abortion. Okay.
I am with you. Hey, man. All we doing is keeping y'all informed on what's going on in the world. That's it. That's all we doing. That's all we doing. Hey, do y'all research. Don't believe nothing we say. Do your research. And if we wrong, email us and tell us we wrong. Comment, like, share, comment, subscribe to this channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We appreciate everybody who rock with us, but don't believe nothing we say. Go do your own research. All right?
Absolutely.
Think for yourselves. Don't follow us. Be better than us. You heard me? Real leaders create leaders, not followers. Remember that. So with that being said, remember, we out here. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and all the other podcast platforms. Of course, we here on YouTube. Subscribe, like this video. Make sure you comment, share it with somebody. Go to our website, www.freedomtrainradio.com. And with that being said, 2 fingers in the air like a player, because we are up out of here. And I ain't got no hair.